Hello, and today we got Hearts and Hibs, former Hearts and Hibs assistant manager Billy Brown. Hiya Billy, how are you doing today?
Not bad, Angus. Not bad. I'm sitting watching the racing on TV here. Miserable day, but we just got to get on with it.
Yeah. Let's start off. What was your first memory playing football?
Oh, my first memory. I was at Pinkie School in Musselburgh, and we got to a cup final, but I was a year below, and I was asked to play in the cup final, and I scored the winner, and I was only 11-year-old at the time, and it was the highlight of my life at the time, and I'll always remember it. And you know, when we went to the Hearts, we started training down at Pinkie, near where my first triumph was.
That's great. What was your first grassroots club you played for?
Musselburgh Windsor. When I was at the school, when I was 14, I played for Musselburgh Windsor under 16s, and it was great. It was my first taste of real football, apart from school football, you know.
Yeah.
And Musselburgh Windsor is a really big club, and now I'm a coach at Musselburgh Windsor 2010s. I take my grandson there, so I went full circle. I started there, and I'm going to finish there, I think.
Yeah, that's great. What was the first professional club you signed for? What was your first contract?
When I left the school at 15, I went to I signed for Hull City.
Right.
You know, which was a big thing. You know, 15-year-old boy leaving home and going to Hull, and they were in the second tier at that time. You know, it was the first division, second division, and Hull had just been promoted to the second division. So we're a big club. We used to get 40,000 at their home games. But that was my first club, and you know, it's a long time ago now.
Yeah. Did any of your family go down with you to Hull, or did you just go down by yourself?
There was another lad from Musselburgh signed for Hull at the same time, Alec Martin. So we went down together. I had been down on trial, and you know, when I left the school, I went down as a full-time player at 15-year-old. You know, when you think you can't even leave the school at 15 now. I left school and went away from home. And what I always remember, Angus, is you know, after about 5 or 6 weeks, I thought, this isn't a holiday, you know, and I was a wee bit homesick. But I got over that, and I was there. I was at Hull for about 3.5, 4 years.
Would your parents come down and visit you in Hull, or would you?
Well, they did. They used to come down, but I used to get home every 6 weeks.
Every
6 weeks, we used to get home for a weekend, you know, from sort of Friday back on Monday. So and obviously they came down, and that time we were in the North Intermediate League, and they had teams like Newcastle, Sunderland, and that. So you know, when we played them, my mum and I used to come down and watch these games.
That's good. Can you remember your first professional game, your professional debut?
In the big team, you mean? In the first team?
Yeah, the first team.
Yeah. Well, I didn't play in the first team at Hull, and I left Hull and went to Motherwell.
Right.
And my first team game there was against Dunfermline at Dunfermline. We drew in a League Cup tie, and that was my first team game.
Did you play well?
I can remember missing a sitter. One corner kick, and I was in the 6-yard box, and I volleyed it across the crossbar. But I thought I played quite well. You've always got to think you play well. You've always got to have confidence. And you know, moved on from there.
As you can see with my background, I like my football strips. But what were the best and worst strips you wore in your career?
Well, I've got to say, you know, when you ask me that question, I can't think of any bad strips. You know, the strips we had, the teams that I played. I mean, other strips, you know, when I went to Hull were called the Tigers, and it was a black and amber striped strip, and then Motherwell was maroon and amber, and then I went to Wraith Rovers, where it was blue. So I didn't have any bad strips. You know, the teams I played for, the strips were quite decent.
That's good. Who was the best teammate you had?
The best as a manager, as just a manager.
And as a player?
The best team that they had.
The best teammate, sorry, the best teammate.
Oh yeah. I see what you mean. Well, I mean, when I was at Hull, obviously you make a lot of friends because I was on the ground staff there. You know, I was an apprentice, and you work beside lads on the ground staff. You got friendly with them, and you know, still keep in touch one or two. And you're talking about nearly 50 years ago now, but I do keep in touch one or two down there. Obviously went to Motherwell, and I made good friends at Motherwell. Dixie Deans that played for Celtic, Big Tam Forsyth that just died, and he went to Rangers after that, and you know, people like that. So, and then Raith Rovers, which I was 5 years at Raith Rovers, and it was great, and I made friends with people like Mike Dermott and Gordon Wallace and people like that, and these friendships still remain. And you know, I always got on with all the people I played with, and they like to think that they got on with me as well.
That's great. Did you have a worse teammate, one that would always play pranks and stitch you up, that sort of thing?
Well, at Raith Rovers, I had a lad called Gordon Wallace. I used to travel with him, and Gordon was a right joker. Quite funny, but we take the mickey out of everybody. And one thing I learned to do in football is when you've got a character like that in the dressing room, don't try to argue with him, or don't show you're annoyed with the pranks he plays on you, because if you get annoyed, you're just opening yourself up for another one. So I used to just laugh along for him, and I didn't have any problems with that.
What sorts of pranks would he do?
Well, he would cut the foot in your sock or something like that, or hide your underpants. And I remember one night when I went there, my mother-in-law had bought me a pair of red boxer shorts with blue sailing ships on them, and unfortunately Gordon seen them and hung them on the mirror in the middle of the dressing room for everybody to see. But yeah, it was all good fun, and he was a good lad, really.
Our most famous assistant manager to Jim Jefferies. What was he like to work with?
Oh, Jim was great. Jim and I was in the same class at school. It must have been a grammar. He came from Wallingford. And Jim was great. Jim's the best man manager. Jim Jefferies and Walter Smith are the best man managers that this country's ever produced. We used to have different jobs, and Jim would do all the thing with the players, signing and thing. And I took most of the coaching and then a lot of the tactics. But we've gotten great together, and we were in the game for a long, long time together. And people asked me the other week, how did you last as long? Well, we lasted long because we got rid of all the idiots, all the people that let you down. Yeah. We got rid of them, and Jim was great. Jim's one of the best managers that Hearts have ever had and ever will have.
Lots of players have come out and said, lots of players that you worked with have come out and said, you'd always be the one to give them a row. What was the biggest row you ever gave to a player?
Well, I don't know if I'm the only one that ever gave them the row. I think Jim was pretty adept at that. But these things happen. And being the manager or assistant, when you go in the dressing room at half time, and things aren't going well, you're going to have a go at players. And people will say you can't do that now because players have changed, but they haven't really. If somebody's no picked somebody up at the corner and they score with a header, you're not going to pat them on the shoulder and say hard luck, son. So you've just got to keep it. I can't think one offhand. I can remember Jim going daft one day at the semi-final of the Scottish Cup, the year we won it. We were playing Falkirk, and we were pretty awful in the first half, and he had a real go at some of the players, and that was one to remember. And I can't think of anyone's for me at the moment, but if you want to come back to me in a week's time, I'll think of a few.
What was the best game that you and Jim played or managed as an assistant manager? Like the best performance from players, or the best experience you had?
Well, the best experience, without doubt, was winning the Scottish Cup at Hearts.
Yeah.
You know, we'd been beaten in 2 previous cup finals by Rangers. We got beaten in the 1996 Scottish Cup final and 1997 League Cup final. And this was the 1998 Cup final. We're going to play them again. And we had taken a long time to build the team. And that season, we should have won the league because we were the best team. And winning the cup at Hearts, Angus, was fantastic. It was a fantastic experience, you know, to see the Hearts supporters. And then the next day, we did a open bus tour through Edinburgh, and it really was a fantastic occasion. And it's something I'll never ever forget. And it was that is the best experience in my life. That one.
Yeah, obviously I wasn't old enough, but I've seen many photos and many fans that came out for that victory parade. Must have been amazing.
Yeah, it was. It was amazing, and you know, it just shows you how, you know, one game can change your life. You know, because Jim and I become real favourites at Hearts after that, and we still are. You know, and it was just a great occasion. The Hearts were a great club to be with, by the way. Say they're fantastic. I've been there 3 times, and they were great. They were great. But that cup final was something that will never be forgotten.
Right, just to end on, ask this to everybody. When's the last time you had to pay for a ticket to go to a football match?
Well, since I went into management, when I went back to full-time football and management, was 1990, and I haven't paid for a football match since.
Lucky.
So that's a long time, and I'm going to try and get through without paying from now on in as well.
Good luck.
Yeah, I'll try my best.
Right, Billy, that wraps it up. It's been a pleasure having you on. Thank you for your time.
Angus, anytime I can help you, if I can help you with anything, just get in touch with me, and I hope you succeed in what you're doing, because you're really, really good.
Thank you.